go. And as you find your way into a more even seat, sometimes what I'll do is roll the back of my thigh from the inner groin to the outer hip. Take the heels of your hands and press your thighs down. And once again, just continue to build a little bit more differential movement between the lift of your chest and the drop of your arm bone down, so we don't ignite the neck and the shoulders. Right? Keep the lift of your sternum, drop your chin towards your chest. Reach the inner elbows back and look for different ways in which to expand and open your rib cage. So some of that might be taking the inner elbow out slightly, so you feel this expansion of your rib cage out. Some of it might be taking the inner elbow back, so you feel a stretch of the collarbone out. And then maintain solidarity of the lower part of your spine by taking your abdomen slightly back. You may feel the buttock bones ground more evenly. And then bring your palms together, raise your gaze, bring the elbows together and start to stretch out in the back of the shoulders. So as you squeeze your elbows together, you'll feel a nice stretch. So it wants to be gentle. Don't overcook the top of the shoulders. And so you just squeeze a little bit, find some space, and then straighten your arms out. Let the elbows separate, of course. And then on an inhalation, if you're tight in your shoulders, hook your thumbs so you're a little wider. If you're not quite so concerned, take your palms together and sweep the arms up. Now lift the sternum, take your gaze towards your thumbs, keep the buttock bones pressing down, navel back, and then exhale, turn the palms out to the side, lift the sternum and drop your chin to your sternum as you reach the arms out and down. Walk the fingertips back, lift your chin away from your chest. And then let's do this one more time. Bring the heels of the hands to the top of the thighs, reverse the cross of your legs. And as you descend the inner elbows down and back, lift the abdomen in and up, sternum up, side ribs up, arm bones down, and then drop your chin towards your sternum. Bring the palms together in front of your heart. Extend the gaze and your hands up. Squeeze the elbows together once again. Extend your arms straight out, separating the elbows. If you crossed your thumbs this way before, see if you can reverse the cross of your thumbs. Inhale and take your arms up. This time, if you found that your neck was not terribly happy with the upward extension, just gaze forward. Lengthen as much as you can, maybe shimmy the side ribs out of the side hips. Exhale, release the arms out and down. All right, let's take child's pose and downward dog just to open up. So as you settle back into child's pose, you might want to start with a nice firm grounding of your hands from the stretch of the fingertips out. And then crown the buttock bones up as you reach them back. And then once you get close to the heels, settle the buttock bones down towards your heels as you lengthen out. Forehead rests gently on the floor. If there's strain in the neck and the shoulders, of course, put a block beneath your forehead. Taking a few breaths here, allow for the opportunity to move into the space once your body just lets go. That's what's good about just taking those even breaths. It's allowing for the space to show up and then you move into it. Inhale, come up onto your hands and knees. Again, continuing to let it be an exploratory pose, not necessarily one that is so challenging that you overwork the body right away. Spin your triceps towards one another, firm the forearms towards the fingertips, and then as you crown your buttock bones up, lift up and back through the front thighs, reach the front of the leg towards the back of the leg, and keep your gaze at the spot between the knees so your head is released, your neck is relaxed. And as you reside here, again, go back to that question of how can I create more space in the upper chest region, in that rib cage. So if I start to firm the forearms towards one another and take the inner arms out, I'm starting to draw the collarbones out. And I could feel a little bit more opening in the upper rib cage. And as I draw the thighs from front to back a little bit more, I can feel a little bit more space in between the side ribs, maybe. And then as you exhale, come down into child's pose. Let yourself observe if there's more space between the inner thighs. Maybe rock your hips gently from side to side so you nest even more completely down in between the inner thighs with your side ribs, and stretch out through those arms. Taking a few breaths here. Sometimes you can feel a sense of lengthening in your arm just by taking your hands out a little further and keeping the palms grounded as you sit back. Next, what we want to do, take your hands beneath your shoulders and come either to sit up or to sit on your heels is one option, but if that's definitely not in your life of your knees, then don't. We're going to take a kneeling position next. So depending on how much your knees are bending this morning, so if you are reasonably comfortable in your knees this morning, you can use a blanket across the midsection and you'll have this kind of a setup. Now, if for any reason you don't want to kneel on the ground today, you can take your chair in instead, and you'd have two blocks, and then your foot would go in between the two blocks. So I'm going to just show the happy knee position first. So in taking a lunge, we always want to keep the knee reasonably near the line of the heel of the foot. All right. And I'm going to use the action of pressing down into my right thigh to lift up through the trunk. Now, in this situation, I'm also broadening out through the collarbones and reaching through the bend of the elbow. Right? So there's a sense of expanding out this way as well as lengthening upwards. Okay? And then what we're going to do after we get a nice stretch in the front groin of the back leg and the inner groin of the front leg. So we'll go back and forth this way first. Then we'll take our hands down to the blocks, depending on how open we are. And as we extend back through the rear foot, we want the heel to track directly up, all right? So I'm going to press the top of the foot down and lift the knee up off of the floor, drawing the navel up and extending out through the sternum. So what this is going to do is not only open your front groin, but strengthen it a little bit. So if you're working with a chair, that would probably look a little bit like this. So you would come to your chair initially and take a movement this way, all right? And then this way. And then you would come down into this position. Now, because of the nature of the back foot, you can, if you wish to, take the top of the foot down and lift the knee up, right? But you have to really come in. So I don't know how available that's going to be. You may want to just stick with extending the heel back evenly and lifting the knee up, all right? So that's probably what you're going to want to do with regards to the chairs, not turn the toes under. But what we're trying to do here is really open up this back leg. So I leave it to you, knee people, to discern what it is that you need to do this morning. All right, so take your right foot forward And have the heel of your right foot a little bit further out than your right knee. And press the right thigh down with your hands. So broaden out through the collarbones, reaching through the bend of your elbow, and lift up through the chest. And again, make sure that your foot is out further than your knee, so you're not over bending the knee. You have a nice solid action as you sit deeply into that right groin. Get a stretch in the left front thigh, a stretch in the right groin. So Sal, if you want to take your left foot out a little further so the left heel's underneath your knee, that would work a little bit better for you. All right. Now, keep the lift of your chest. Inhale, exhale, sit a little deeper. And then exhale, push into that right foot and switch out. So now your left foot is forward. Start with the heel forward of the knee. Press the thigh down with your hands. Inhale, lift up through your chest. And then exhale and come forward. All right, so as you come forward, continue to lift up and out of the chest. All right, press the left heel down, firm the right thigh back. Good. And then switch out. Taking that right foot forward again. And this time, take a quicker move into the bend of the right leg. And now take your hands to either side of your right foot, either onto the blocks lower or onto the seat of the chair if you're using the seat of the chair. So again, I leave it to you. If you're a bit more adept, by all means, come onto the top of your foot if you're in a chair. But if you're down on the ground, it's relatively easy to then start to stretch out through the back leg. All right, and you can feel both the little toe mound and the big toe mound. And as you stretch out through the sternum, inhale, exhale, press into your right heel, and then lengthen the left leg, lift the left thigh up, and press the top of the left foot down. Keep the upper arms back so you're not drawing the shoulder blades up into your neck. So you can feel that action. Lift the navel. That's another place where you can start to get a little lighter. And then exhale, set that knee down. Exit out of your lunge. Take the left foot forward. Press the left thigh down. Inhale, lengthen up through the chest. Exhale, come into your lunge. Bring your hands to either side of the left leg. And now stretch back through your right leg. Press down into the left heel, down into the top of the right foot, and lift your right thigh up. Reach out through the sternum, lift the navel, stretch through the right leg. Take a couple of breaths here. So enroll the various areas of your body that aren't participating to make this pose lighter. Nice. Okay, and then exhale, take that right knee down. Shift the left knee back and take child's pose. So if you're using a chair, sometimes what's nice is you just keep your hands on the seat of the chair. If you're using blocks, keep your hands on the blocks. So you're a little elevated with regards to your chest. Let the head hang. So if you're in a chair, you might look like this. All right, and that's kind of helpful sometimes for those of us that don't bend too well in the knees. Take one more breath here. And then come to sit and watch. So now we're going to take this blanket and open it up so that it's covering the underside of the body. This is just to protect this whole general region from here to here in case you have a hard floor and those hip points or the bottom front ribs are a little sensitive. So one of the things that's nice about taking your hands out wide is that you can accentuate the expansion of the chest by reaching out through the elbows. And as you reach out through the elbows, there's a lift in the chest. Now, to a certain extent, you're going to be reaching out through your sternum and back through your legs. I think some people like to call this grasshopper, right? So I reach out, I open everything up, and I keep my hands cupped so that as I stretch the legs out like before, I press the top of the feet down and I can come up. Now with my feet as wide as the mat, it's going to be much more spacious for the lower back. Okay, so I'm just going to angle out. I think I'm still going to be on camera. Let me just double check. Yeah. All right. So again, the hands are coming out at the same line as my armpits. And I have a vertical nature of the forearms. So go ahead and reach out through your legs. Have your feet as wide as the mat. Lie down on the floor. Lengthen the bottom front ribs out away from the legs. Take your fingertips into a cup position out from the armpit and let your elbows be straight up towards the ceiling. Now, as you take the firm action of your thighs down, tops of the feet down, your tailbone should move down towards the floor and open your lower back. Inhale, reach out through your sternum, reach out through the elbows and come up a little bit, just test the waters, and then exhale and come back down. All right? Head can hang, or you can take the chin slightly away from the sternum as you inhale. Reach out through the side ribs, forward and up. Stretch back through the legs, tops of the feet down. And then exhale and lower down. And one last time. Reach out through those elbows, sternum out. Firm the thighs, tops of the feet down, and come up any amount and stay as long as you feel this is sustainable. Keep the shoulder blades moving towards the waist by sweeping the elbows more towards your legs if you feel it crashing into your neck and shoulders. And then exhale, lie back down and stretch your arms out as far as you can away from your body, out in front, forehead rests on the floor. And then take your hands underneath your shoulders and bring yourself into child's pose, making sure that your toes and your hands are on the mat. Inhale, come up onto your hands and knees, stretch through your fingertips, plant the palms, spin the triceps towards one another, and then roll over the toes onto the ball mounds and lengthen the back of the legs by pressing the ball mounds of the feet down and taking the back of the leg from the back of the knee up through the buttock bone. Again, let your head hang and gaze at the spot between your knees. Stretch through the arms and ask yourself the question, how can I broaden and open this upper chest? So I'm going to let my chest come down a little bit on top of the arm bone so I can take the inner arms out. And then stretch the arms, stretch the legs fully, reaching the heels back and down, lifting the back of the legs up. And then walk your feet towards your hands, hands towards your feet, and then slowly come to stand. Take a moment in Tadasana, allowing yourself to adjust to standing up from being on the floor for a while. And let's prepare our mat and our screens for some standing poses. Okay.